New South Wales feral goat. They're crafty, smelly, and delicious eating. On this hunt, my mate Dwayne from Wild Safaris and I are heading out to the wilds of the northern tableland with the aim to fill our freezers with prime goat meat. It's going to be hot, hard work, chaotic, and a hell of a lot of fun. I hunt animals in the pursuit of life. Life lived and life taken. I believe it's through this dance with nature and the wild places that we truly live, connect, and grow. I'm Chris Waters, the Australian Huntsman, and these are my stories. As you head from the lush, fertile pastures of the scenic rim in Queensland, over the rugged Great Dividing Range and into New South Wales, you head into country that could only be described as breathtaking. As the elevation climbs, you find yourself in a biodiverse hotspot teeming with life and vegetation as the wetter drying conditions meet the high rainfall of the east. It's this tropical and temperate overlap in the region, coined by biologists as the MacPherson-Macleay Overlap, that creates the perfect storm for feral species like goats to thrive. And it's goats we've come for. These crafty critters make full use of the elevation, which means to get the drop on them, a buggy becomes your best friend. On this first morning, Dwayne and I opted to spend some time covering country in an effort to find a strong herd of goats we could come back to later and hunt, or at least eliminate large areas that they weren't using. Now, it might seem counterintuitive, but there are great benefits in spending time scouting out your hunting territories on the first day without a rifle. This takes the pressure off and helps you focus on what is important, understanding how the region works and how you can take advantage of its secrets. You also don't want to blow your hunt by shooting a trophy on your first day. So to make the best use of our time, Dwayne and I split up to cover more territory. Now, some people might think that scouting is as simple as finding a spot and glassing, then after a certain amount of time, moving on to another spot to glass. But it's not that simple. The trick is knowing how long to glass and when not to go in an area so that you don't accidentally flush it of game that won't return for weeks or months. It's a tricky balancing act that requires both patience and attention.
So I've just been making my way up this hill, and there's a game trail down here about halfway up the hill, and then about 30 meters up is the game trail that I'm on here. You can see it runs here. And this is like classic deer behavior in that they don't just go up and over the hill unless there's a dip, like a saddle in it. What they tend to do is contour across it. That's anywhere, that's just what they do. It's just much easier for them. You find these game trails, and it's not uncommon to, see 15, 30 meters up another game trail that runs exactly the same direction, across the face of the mountain. And then you see these things here where you get a bit of cover like this, and it's a bit shaded. The game trail runs through it, and then off to the side over here is an area where deer will bed. Now, you can tell even by the height of that area as to how big the deer are, what species of deer. So for instance, this is an area where fallow would be bedding, or even pigs maybe, or goats, and then making their way along here. And especially in these northern climates, where it's really hot, these areas where there's shaded kind of overgrowth along a game trail become really important to the deer for their survival. And you can use that when you're hunting to good effect. Pretty cool though. Constantly find myself when in situations like this, glassing over beautiful valleys, just kind of awe-inspired by the terrain. It's just so interesting. There's so many little interesting nooks and crannies and undulations and little bends and stuff, dead zones where you can't see over that hill, but something could be lurking underneath. There's a real skill to like sitting in a spot and canvassing that entire area and doing so efficiently without, getting frustrated or annoyed. I just love it. I just really enjoy it. So this is what we want to see. Here's some fallow scat. The fact that it's bundled together makes me think that it's a buck, fallow buck. And actually up here you can see as well, there's a larger kind of grouping of that same scat. And what's important is that scat can tell you a lot about the animal, not just its gender, but also the direction that it's heading. So you can imagine that poo builds up in the intestines, and then when the animal's ready to poo, it drops a whole bunch first. Just that happens with all animals, humans, pigs, goats, deer, doesn't really matter. And then what you find then is the smaller bits of scat, the droppings or individual little pellets, then follow afterwards. So you can tell that if an animal has had a large poo here and then smaller poos this way, the animal is heading that way. Pretty cool, right? It's a good little trick you can use. So I think it's time to head back to Dwayne and see if he's done any better on his scouting mission than I have. Hopefully he has. But before I do that, I just want to share a quick story with you, and that is this. I'm a member of the Australian Hunters Club, and it's an amazing hunting community that I want to personally invite you to join. Without their support, this video wouldn't be possible. In fact, I'd invited another member, Jerome, to come on this hunt with me. But unfortunately, he arrived late to the airport, checked in his rifle, checked in his luggage, got all the way to the terminal and realized he's forgotten his keys. So he had to run back to long-term car parking, and by the time he got back to the plane, we'd already taken off. So he missed out on this flight, but you know what? That doesn't matter. It's something that we do regularly as a community, invite other members on our hunts. And I want to personally invite you to join the club, and maybe you can go on a hunt with me or Jerome or anyone else. It's a massive club where nationwide we do other things like organize community hunts and run hunting events and barbecues and all that kind of stuff. We have insurance, it's anyone reason to own a firearm. You can win this hunt that I'm on right now. We give away hunts every single month, one, sometimes two hunts. You can get a discount on guided hunts as well on this hunt with Dwayne, or heaps of other hunts offered by outfitters around the country. So it's a great club with a difference that offers more value than most clubs. I want to personally invite you to join. You can check it out at australianhunters.com.au. Hopefully I see you at an event, but now I think it's time that we head back. Let's go.
While I had no luck spotting any goats, Dwayne did. So the next morning we got up bright and early, and with the 308 rifle secured in the front, we took off in the buggy to the area Dwayne last saw the herd. Now, as Robert Burns wrote, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry, and as luck would have it, we didn't even make it to the herd we were travelling to. Instead, on the way, we accidentally bumped a group of goats heading up the mountain, which forced us to act quickly. No time to stalk or check the wind, only act.
Whereabouts is he?
Right in front of us. Underneath the tree, 12 o'clock, there's a couple.
Oh yeah, under the tree. Oh yeah.
They're all going through the fence again.
Yeah, they're in the hollow. Go on the fence.
The hunt was on.
You good? There's a couple. How many did you go for? I know you've got two.
So I just took two shots on two separate goats, and it sounds like Dwayne's calling and saying that I got two different hits, which is good. By the time I got to this fence place, there was only 3 goats left. The herd had kind of moved on around that hollow. There was a juvenile adult, and then there was a nanny with her kid. And the first shot was on juvenile adult, and I got a headshot, and I could see it drop straight away. But the kid was getting in front of the nanny, and I didn't want to hit that kid, so I waited. And right before I took my shot, that nanny sprung behind a tree, and I think I clipped her back leg and wounded her, and she's kind of headed off further down the hill. And you know, I can't feel sorry for myself now. There's no point doing that. What I need to do is track her down, see if I can find a blood trail, and follow up with a clean, ethical kill. So let's go do that now. So I just shot this nanny over here, and unfortunately I wounded her. I didn't get an instant kill, and she's wandered off towards here. You can see she's got her kid there, and I don't want to shoot the kid, so I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen, if she's going to move. You can see as well here, there are some other ones. There's a wallaby, and there's some goats at the back as well. Alright, I think we'll make our way over. No, so she's still there. Alright, that dropped her. She's down. There she is. Hey, darling. Whew. As you can see, looks like my first shot clipped her leg for some reason, and then we finished her off with the next shot. Just a beautiful, beautiful animal. Good size too. Oh man, the amount of animals that pumped out. There's still a herd of goats over here too, so we'll see what happens. I am after a billy primarily, so it's a harvest for meat, but it's also a harvest for trophies. So if we can get a billy either today or tomorrow, hopefully we can do that.
Sun Tzu famously wrote in The Art of War, "Plan for what is difficult while it is easy. Do what is great while it is small." It's a lesson to live by for those of us seeking to adopt the hunting lifestyle. If you value the life of animals and the food they can bring you and your family, you need to spend the time learning your craft, honing your shooting skills and preparing yourself. It's moments like these that require discipline and skill, when a situation is forced on you and you need to move quickly and decisively. Even with preparation, it doesn't always end this way. The first shot I fired was a headshot on a nanny, resulting in an instant death, while the second shot only wounded the second nanny. But regardless, my preparation paid off and I was quickly able to track the wounded nanny down and kill it cleanly. Now, with half the freezer full, tomorrow we go after the billy. In the next episode of the Australian Huntsman, we continue with part 2 of our New South Wales goat hunt, resulting in a dramatic conclusion that you don't want to miss as we chase down the billy. Also, if you love hunting and want to connect with other hunters, or maybe you're just starting out your hunting journey, if you want to go on Australian hunts like this, or maybe win a professionally guided hunt, I want to formally invite you to join with me as a member of the Australian Hunters Club. It is the best way to learn and grow as a hunter, connected in community, and maybe win yourself the experience of a lifetime. So drop what you're doing now and head over to australianhunters.com.au to learn more and sign up.